Yeah, weight loss show here in Winnipeg with Mitch of Calvert Fitness. Again, very creative with my business name back in the day. Last name and what I do. It's fairly self-explanatory. And I'm excited today because we're joined by someone who's lost, almost 50 pounds in our program and done so by following a vegan-based diet, which is there's a perception out there that I'm not plant-based, and certainly I'm a meat eater and I prefer that, but our system can still work in that regard. So we're definitely going to dive into that at some point. But welcome, Jackie.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So we usually take this right back to the starting point. Like, what was life like before you started? What kind of made you want to explore making some changes?
Yeah, well, I think I've always been someone who, to some extent, had struggled with her weight, and and before I had children, I would do a lot of like exercising and intermittent fasting and whatnot. And then I've either been basically pregnant or nursing since 2018. And so I didn't have time to just exercise all the time anymore. And I wasn't comfortable fasting while I was either of those situations. And so didn't really know what to didn't know exactly what to do. I mean, obviously, I knew I should move more and eat less, but I needed some structure to that. I just felt overwhelmed. I mean, and then having three small children,
Mm-hmm.
not a lot of extra time. And so I I just felt lost and I needed some direction.
Gotcha. Was there like a certain enough is enough point where it was just like, this is the motivator, now is the time to change, or was it more gradual?
No, I definitely had like a moment. I had seen like a little at home workout that was like no equipment. It was like pretty much all you needed was like an exercise mat. And so it was just like body weight squats, lunges, some sit ups, push ups, like things like that. There's probably about 8 to 10 exercises. And I went to do the sit ups, and I think you were supposed to do probably like 8 to 10 reps each and try and do 3 sets. And I went to do the sit up portion, and I couldn't do a sit up, and I had never not been able to do a sit up before. I had always like had like pretty strong core. I had done like P90X back in the day, so like the abs X, and like so I had always had like strong abs. Even if I wasn't like super slim, I had always had like a good core. And I could not do a sit up, and I was like, it was shocking. I was like, oh my goodness, like what? And so, I think I like managed to like, throw my body weight into it and like sit up. But I was like, okay, this is like terrifying. I need to change something. This like I don't know what's going on. This never happened before. And so I think probably a month later I signed up with you. So it took me a little while to still to like figure out what the next step was, but that was like definitely a wake up call.
No doubt. I believe that. Yeah. So was there anything beyond like just a couple random workouts that you had tried that didn't work, or was sort of I was the first thing on your radar, or I was the most persistent, or
Um, I think I think you were probably like the most like that was kind of there, and I knew that you were in Winnipeg, which I mean, not that we meet up that often, but that just kind
Mhm.
of gave me a comfort that you were like an actual person. And I think my husband like kind of knew you through a colleague or something. There was like,
Mhm.
kind of like a touch point that you were like a legit person and not just some rando on the internet. And and I think I was just for some reason I had it in my head like I didn't want to count calories. I didn't want to do a bunch of stuff. And but also what I was doing wasn't working. So I was like, I just need some help. And then I think you had once in a while you do like an open kind of meeting just to show what your business is about. And so I had jumped on one of those one evening, and then had an opportunity to book a call. And so yeah, and then the rest is
Mhm.
history, I guess.
Love it. Was there anything you were scared or skeptical of, like coming in, being vegan? Maybe that was something that came up in your head, like, is maybe this wouldn't work for you, or was there anything else in
Um,
particular?
I I don't think I've ever like let that get in the way, because like I've just always kind of like once I put my mind to something, once I have a
Mhm.
plan, like I'll execute the plan. It might take me a little while to figure it out, but like
Yeah.
once I have a goal in mind, like I'm pretty stubborn in that way. I think initially I wasn't worried about being plant-based. Once I saw like my protein goal, I was like, oh, like that's a thing. Okay. Like,
Yeah.
that's gonna take me a minute to figure out. But I figured it out. I think it took me probably about a week and a half before I hit my protein goal. And then I think I've literally hit it like every day since,
Mhm.
other than like maybe a few days on vacation when, I don't
Yeah.
have my kitchen available. But when I'm at home and like for me, there's no excuse to not like hit my cap, my calories and protein. So
Love it. Yeah. So maybe share a little bit of what you've done to make that work. Obviously, we give you a sample plan, but then you sort of have to build it and evolve it to what makes sense for you and have that flexibility day to day. What are some of your
sure,
go-to
yeah.
sources?
Okay. So finding like a good protein powder
Mhm.
that has like low calorie, high protein. That's been really great. I found a really great Canadian company called Vegain, and they've got like nice flavor, like good tasting,
Mhm.
and like amazing macros. So I've been like super happy with that. And then often mixing it with, I mean, like the macros are so good. I often can just mix it with water and like easily hit my protein for the day. Or I mix it with maybe a soy milk or a pea milk, like Ripple. Um, so I mean, usually in the morning I get off like probably close to like half my protein for the day, um and then yeah, just kind of being more mindful about like I usually have some kind of maybe a light lunch, whether that's like maybe like some soup or a salad or something. So I'm like my go-to soup would be like a lentil and vegetable. I'm still getting some protein and fiber. I mean, that's one of the great things about being plant-based is you hit your fiber really,
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
easily, but almost without even trying. So that's been great. And then and just like finding different like recipes that help me like meet my goals. Like I for years I've been making my own like vegan parm, like Parmesan cheese.
Mhm.
And so the macros for that were like okay, but then I had bought like a high protein plant-based cookbook when I first started, and they have a recipe. It's all the same ingredients, but just changing up the ratios, and it like cut the calories in half. So I'm like, oh,
Right.
it tastes just as good, and
Yeah.
now it's like helping me meet my macros. And so just like kind of finding little tweaks, or
Mhm.
like instead of regular pasta, doing like a red lentil or an edamame pasta. Once you put some sauce on it, it pretty much tastes the same. And I've always like eaten that kind of stuff anyways, so that wasn't a big deal. But just making that more consistent, finding like say for my mock meats, finding the ones that are like have the best macros, lowest calories with the highest
Yeah.
protein. So I have like a few go-to brands like Gusta typically is like really good. Um, Thinking what else. I was going to say Eves, but Gusta like
Mhm.
absorbed Eves recently.
Right.
So they've got a wider range and still like really good options. And yeah, I'd say that's like my go-to brand right now. But there are other options. You just have to like look at the label. It's like anything
Mhm.
else. And then
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
just
that's
like,
mhm.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest takeaway is just the awareness and nutrition labels and making the numbers work within the context of your dietary limitations, and you
Yeah,
sort it out. That's where the magic is, right? Is hitting your cap
that's
consistently,
right. Yeah,
no matter what the food source is. Yeah. I
that's
guess I
right.
want to transition to like the best part is like, what have your results been? We've been working together maybe 7-ish months, a bit
Yeah,
over two.
about seven. Yeah,
Yeah.
7.5. Something. Yeah, it's just over 7 months, I think.
So maybe
Yeah,
share what's
so
worked.
for sure. Yeah. So I am down 49 pounds, which I'm so excited about. I was really hoping I could get to 50
Yeah.
this morning, but not quite. Okay. That's all right. But no, 49 pounds down. So I'm super excited about that. It's funny. It's like in my head, there are times when it's like, oh, it seems like it's taking so long. But then, like looking at my starter picture to like my most recent progress picture, it's like almost it's shocking. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, because like month to month you don't really notice, and obviously day to
Yeah.
day you don't really notice. But when you start looking at several months apart, and in this instance 7 months, it's like, oh, okay, like that's the difference. And yeah, I think I had shared with you, I had bought a new pair of jeans in like at the end of February. And then like 2 weeks later, I had put them on and like they were already like kind of baggy in the butt. And I was like, okay, like mixed blessings,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
I'll
we
be
can
okay
factor
with
in
like, yeah,
the
yeah,
wardrobe expense. Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, people usually overestimate what's possible in a month or two, always, but they underestimate what's possible in like a year of committed effort, and you're already so far along, ahead of the pace of
Yeah.
what we would anticipate anyone being. How has your life changed? Like apart from the scale and the measurements, how else has this really benefited you day to day?
Yeah, so I think it's made me more mindful in a lot of ways, just like being aware of like what I'm actually eating. And I mean, some just like adding up the calories of like, oh, okay, like I mean, some things are more and some things are less, but like just being aware and um and also just I suppose like having more energy. Oh yeah, I would say I have more energy, and I have 3 little kids, so something
Hmm.
as simple as like just getting up and down off the floor. Like, I mean, I could do that before. That was like it's not like I couldn't, but it was like a little more like be careful, like be a little, think about it a little more. Now it's just I don't really have to think about it as much. Things like that. And yeah, we've even like we were at the snow maze a few weeks ago and lots of like walking around and they've got some snow hills if you want to go sledding and whatnot. So like, climbing up a hill in the cold weather, like that's, might get your heart rate up a little, but it felt good. And it's funny actually, I was climbing up one of the hills and I could like feel it in like the back of my legs. And I was like, oh, like that's a good feeling. Like I can, that's like it's working those like glute muscles and
Hmm.
yeah, I actually really like RDLs now. I don't think I had ever done an RDL in my life until I
Yeah,
started CalFit, and now it's like one of my favorite things to do. And not
that's
because it's
awesome.
like gonna give me a good butt. It just like feels good. It helps me like
Yeah,
I feel strong when I do that.
yeah, it's a great stretch too, right? It's hard to replicate that in just body weight poses. Adding weight like
Yeah.
that, it's excellent if you're doing it right. That's awesome. Those are the real wins, is just not having to negotiate or hold yourself back in life because of your physical limitations. And it wasn't to that point, but you notice a difference,
Yes, for
young
sure. Yeah.
children, keeping up with them, they're
Yes.
nonstop. So that's a huge part of the benefit. Great. Anything else that's jumped out? I guess my last question, if not, is just what would you say to someone who's in your former shoes, a bit skeptical about investing in health, or maybe they're plant-based, they don't feel that a coach could, work with those constraints. What would you say to that
Yeah.
former version of yourself?
Well, I would say like give it a try. And I think like if you put like if you decide to do it, like then just do it. Like for me, like being a person of integrity is like I say I'm going to do something and then I'm going to do it. So if that means like I'm going to drink 3 liters of water today, okay, then I'm going to do it. If that means I've got to get on my I've got a stationary bike, I don't have like a walking pad or a treadmill to get like my steps in, then that's what I'm going to do, even if it's an extra 10 or 20 minutes. Like I I want to hold myself to a standard that I'm the kind of person that I do what I say I'm going to do. And I want that for everyone. I want everyone to be a person of integrity and I think it's possible. And two, I've like in many ways I suppose changed my mindset and that like for the most part I don't get like hungry, but there's like the odd time. I mean, I'm in a calorie deficit, so I'm gonna
Hmm.
feel, hunger pains occasionally. And when I do, it's not a bad thing. It's like I just have thought of it like, okay, like my body is like it's working, like it's burning that stuff I don't want anymore. And so just, you gotta like find these little mindset changes to help along the way.
Yeah, you nailed it. It's so important to, obviously commit, and the accountability helps with commitment, but still you have to make that shift in your head that I'm going to create a new identity here of a person who just does the right things more often. No one's perfect, but the more you do it, the more you force it, I suppose, the more it becomes second nature eventually. And that mindset shift you've had is evident of the results you've gotten, because it doesn't You can't have the physical results without that mental manifestation of I'm going to make this work no matter what, and that's the shift people need to make. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you sharing all this, Jackie. It was really insightful. I think a lot of people will get a lot of value out of this and be inspired by your story, if nothing else, to maybe take a tiptoe in on their own to some
Yeah.
process. Like you said, you shared some tips on the protein piece that would be helpful for some people, and I think people get a lot of value out of this. So thanks for joining me today.
All right. Thank you.